Every year, thousands of students graduate from college with bachelor's degrees, but many still cannot find work in their chosen field. Polk State College is seeking a solution to that problem with a new, completely free training program for students, which will allow participants to earn nationally recognized certifications in the manufactured construction industry. Today, I'm joined by Mary Beth Shapiro, a recruitment, retention, and completion coach at Polk State College, and Bill Masters, the program coordinator for TRAMCON, who are here to talk about the new training program and other career options offered at Polk State College. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great, thank you.
Good. It's good to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
Let's start off talking a little bit about you guys. I want to know what it is that you guys do at Polk State College. What do your positions entail?
Well, I'm the recruitment, retention, and completion coach, and I'm under the TRAMCON grant, but I work for Polk State College. So what I do is I work specifically with students who are looking for some training, looking for some new job opportunities, looking for some employment paths, and I help them explore those options under the TRAMCON grant with our training, our certifications, and then ultimately with our partnership with different employers.
Okay. And Bill?
Well, I started with working with University of Florida in developing the curriculum for this project. They're one of our partners in this program. So once we moved through the curriculum, we now are working in developing the actual lab activities, classroom activities. So I would do a lot with curriculum and working within our business partners, trying to build relationships there.
Okay. And do either of you guys have any background experience in construction? Because that's kind of what you guys are specializing in. And what's the background experience there?
Well, I have 30 years. I was with Homes of Merit out of the Bartow Municipal Airport area. I was corporate director of engineering and quality assurance with them. And so I've got quite a bit of background in construction, did building contractor, just a multitude of things within the construction industry.
Nice. So it's definitely a credible resource here, for sure. Now, I know Polk State College is very well known throughout Polk County, and you have a ton of different campuses throughout Polk County in different locations. But what I hadn't heard about was the Polk State Corporate College, which is kind of who this program is run through, to my understanding. What exactly is the Corporate College? What do you guys do there?
So we are a division within Polk State College. So we are definitely still Polk State College. Okay. And what Polk State Corporate College does is we focus on industry training, workforce education, continuing education, certifications, things like advanced manufacturing. We work with OSHA training and MSHA training, computer certifications, real estate and insurance certifications. So we cover a whole gamut of different certifications that are going to, they don't necessarily transfer into a degree, although we do have some.
Okay, so it's a little bit more of a non-traditional kind of college experience. So tell me a little bit about TRAMCON. That's the program specifically. Is that an acronym? Is that just a name? What does that stand for?
It is. TRAMCON stands for Training for Manufactured Construction. Okay. So the team that put together TRAMCON understood that there was a gap in what the employers needed and who was going to fill that gap employee-wise. There's definitely a skills gap, and Bill can definitely speak to how our employer partners, our industry partners, were trying to grapple with that, and where we came in developing that curriculum to make sure we have a skilled workforce going in.
Yeah. Well, historically within the manufactured construction or the construction industry in general, there's always a need for skilled people, and so that's what we're trying to do is, we're looking at, if we looked at the construction industry today or even in manufactured construction, because we're talking about both site construction that could occur or within a factory environment. So we're working with really both environments. And one of the difficulties is, it's one thing to get somebody in there who might just be a warm body, but we really want to bring our employers skilled people who can work safely, understand the basic necessities within the construction industry. So the program starts very basically in a foundations program, and all it works through a supervisory curriculum as well. So there's a vast amount of information that a student can learn.
And just to clarify, because I have no construction background whatsoever, what is the difference between when you say construction and manufactured construction?
Well, manufactured construction would occur in a plant environment. Now, it could be something that a facility that builds modular homes, manufactured homes, something like that. It also could be a company that builds components, maybe trusses, cabinetry. There's a whole myriad of support entities that feed the pipeline within the construction industry. And these support entities need people as well. So you know, we can look at a job site, but if we don't look beyond the job site and fill all the pipeline, we're going to have a shortage. If we don't have trained truss builders, we're not going to have the trusses for the homes that we need. So what we're doing is we look at the entire pipeline, everything from the very beginning, from the lumber supplier all the way through the person who's actually building the house. So we know that there's a vast need for a multitude of different skill levels. And again, we're talking beyond just people who might do construction, wood framing. You know, we're looking at people who may want to lay block, do electrical. There's a whole multitude of different types of employment that's out there.
Absolutely. And that's great that you guys are offering that service, because I feel like construction might get taken for granted sometimes. A lot of people don't think about how little we would have if we didn't have these people that were skilled in those areas. But one of the greatest things, in my opinion, about this program is that right now it's free for everyone that's taking it. That was through a grant to Polk State College, right? Tell me about the grant.
So it's a Department of Labor grant, and we're actually part of a consortium of 4 colleges. So us, Miami-Dade College, Santa Fe College, and Seminole State. So we're all working together to provide this kind of training all over the state. So under the grant, we're able to offer this training with no charge to the student. And that's 7 weeks worth of training, and included in that, I should mention that part of the training, if they successfully pass the certified production technician piece of it, that articulates into 15 college credits. So not only are they getting our training with no cost, they're actually able to articulate some college credit, again, at no cost, because the grant funded it.
That's amazing. Because money is always one of the biggest issues, I feel, when someone's trying to make it to go to college, because it just costs so much normally.
Absolutely.
How long is it going to be free for? Is this a temporary thing, or is this program going to be free forever?
Basically until the life of the grant runs out.
Okay.
And at this point, we're planning on running training through September of 2017. So we're hoping to continue to offer that training as long as we're able to. If the funds are there, then we really want to make sure that we're able to offer that training.
Nice. Now, with your demographic that you've got right now, first of all, how full is the school right now? What kind of response have you guys gotten?
Well, we actually started a class last week, and we have a nice full class. We are offering, we're starting more classes because we see that need. We've seen and heard from people who definitely want to be involved now that they know about it. And we have between 20 and 25 slots open per class, and they are filling up quickly, but we're happy to schedule as many as we can afford to do.
Excellent. Is there any particular age demographic this is focused toward, or is this kind of an open, free range?
The minimal qualification is they have to be 18.
Wow.
Other than that, we have them everywhere from just turned 18 all the way up into their 60s.
Okay. And speaking on that qualification, what if you don't have a background in construction, but you're really interested in the program? What are the qualifications that you need knowledge-wise?
That's okay. We're assuming that you don't have any background, and Bill can talk a little bit about what they do.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, really, when we start the foundations, we assume that the student knows nothing. They don't know they have no knowledge of power tools, hand tools. They don't know anything about plan reading. They don't know anything about construction math. We assume that they come in with absolutely no knowledge, and we start building from there. And it's great. A lot of times, we have students that are intimidated because they don't have a background, but often it's good because they don't have bad habits we have to break. Nothing worse than somebody who learned how to use a tool incorrectly and they're using it dangerously. And we really focus on safety. It's very important that we know that our students are going to be able to operate equipment on a job site in a safe manner. So we go through quite a bit of information, quite a bit of training, but previous knowledge isn't necessary. If you do, it's great. It's great because it's that much more that we can enhance on. But no, I don't think any student needs to have any previous knowledge. We welcome everybody.
Okay. With that said, that you don't need prior experience, in a normal college situation, sometimes you have to have proper GPA, proper test scores, that sort of thing. What are the requirements and the kind of criteria that you guys use to choose who gets in? Is there a selection process, or is it kind of if you apply, you? can go?
There is a little bit of a selection process, just to the end that if we had say a college student who came in, we would assume that they have the necessary reading comprehension and math capabilities to be able to handle this particular workload. If they don't have any of those experiences, or it's been a while since they graduated from high school, then we're asking that they take the TABE test, which they can take at CareerSource. And that's just going to level, it's not going to preclude them from being part of the program, because we always want to work with the student, and we'll build an individual learning plan for them. And if we know that we need to work with them in areas, then we'll do that. But it's going to help us assess where they are in those math and reading comprehension levels.
So we're going to take a quick break from the show and check out some of the machines that the students get to use as part of the TRAMCON program at Polk State College. Stay tuned. You're watching The Buzz on PGTV. If you're just tuning in, I'm in the studio with Mary Beth Shapiro and Bill Masters from TRAMCON at Polk State College. Now, before the break, we talked a lot about your program and what it is. Now I want to get into what are the students going to get out of it. I know there's multiple types of certification that the students can receive from this program. Can you talk a little bit about what those types are?
Absolutely. Bill is definitely our expert when it comes to certifications.
Well, first of all, one of the certifications they'll get would be an OSHA card. So they will either be getting like an OSHA 10 or an OSHA 30 card. We also have a manufactured construction component, so they'll get a certificate on that, as well as completing the manufactured technology component. They'll also receive an NCCR card, which is the NCCR core card, which is part of the construction curriculum that we're using. And so there's several certifications that they'll get in the initial foundations portion. Now, as we go into the higher levels, and once we move into basic, advanced, and supervisory, there's a whole myriad of additional certifications they'll pick up along the way.
Okay. And how complicated is it for you to kind of explain what those different certifications lend themselves to, like what type of jobs they can get from them?
Well, with the OSHA, you're learning basically either construction or general industry safety. So they'll be able to learn to know what to watch for within a job site. And this is something that's really important to employers. They know that the people are going to come in, they're going to be knowledgeable about safety hazards that might exist. And the last thing they want to do is have people working in an unsafe manner. So they'll have good training in that area. Then when we move into manufactured construction, they'll start to understand the process. What happens within a factory environment? What effects do occur when somebody does a job incorrectly, let's say, because we're talking about a process, a multi-step process that one person might be working in one particular phase, and it affects somebody's job as it moves down the line. So they'll understand the necessity to comply with specifications and standards within a production environment. Within the NCCR core component, they'll learn about plan reading, the construction math. They'll learn about again, more on job site safety. They're going to learn about fall restraint, things like this that they'll be working with on a job site. They'll learn about power tools, hand tools. We'll get into crane lifting, a certain degree on crane lifting, on safe lifting techniques when you're lifting heavy objects and stuff. So that section gives them a good, well-rounded working knowledge, let's say. Once they get into the next level, because we really want our students to transition to the next level if they have a desire to learn more. We get into more advanced inline construction processes within manufacturing. Once we get into the basic, out of the foundation into the basic, and we get into the NCCR Technologist Level 1, which gets into more framing techniques, whether it's floor framing, wall framing, whether you're dealing with sheathing, lumber types, things like that. And again, if they advance to the next section, which we'd love for them to do that as well, that gets into the advanced. And so they'll learn into advanced framing, trim work, that type of work. They'll also learn more about production processes. And then when they get into the last section, which is supervisory, they're going to learn about job site management, costing, job site safety. They're going to learn project management. So there's a whole another facet they learn. So if somebody actually takes it through each of the elements, they're going to be well-rounded in the construction industry, whether it's, again, on a job site, working for somebody in Polk County, or whether you're working in a factory environment. They'll have the knowledge that they need.
And another really, really beneficial certification that they'll also gain in foundations is the MSSE Certified Production Technician. We frequently refer to that as CPT, and that's 4 different sections. And Bill, I don't know if you expounded on that a little bit, but they'll be learning safety, they'll be learning quality, they'll be learning production processes and maintenance. And a lot of our employer partners, they look for their employers to have those skills, and they may not know what CPT means per se, but they're definitely, when we start to describe those skills that they're learning, that's what they're looking for. They want to know that that person is going to know about production processes. They're going to know about lean manufacturing. They're going to understand how important safety is, what to look for in quality. They're going to understand how important those skills are in that particular worker, that when they come onto the job site, they're ready to go.
Yeah, definitely. Now, all of those, even the advanced programs, are those all included in the grant, or is there any point where a student's going to have to pay to expand their education?
No, it's all still covered under the grant.
It's all free.
Yep, and they're just different levels. So each module is about 7 weeks, 6, 7 weeks, and so somebody could transition from one to the next to the next. So, so we really are excited and really welcome the students.
Yeah, that's great. Now, you said earlier September 2017 was kind of where the grant was cutting off. At that point, are you guys stopping the program for any period of time, or is it just going to transition to where there's going to be some kind of a cost for students to continue that, or what happens then?
Well, we'd love to see sustainability, and that's something that, you know, if we're able to feed into another program what we've been working toward for the benefit of the student, then that's, you know, that's always our goal, is to make sure that our students are a benefit. As it pertains to being under the grant, unfortunately we don't have any control over that. But where we go from there, you know, if this curriculum's been developed and it can be utilized in maybe a credit-bearing program or somewhere else, you know, then that would be great. We certainly don't want to see it just go away.
Right. Yeah. All that work for it to just end.
Definitely. Definitely.
Now, you mentioned some of your employer partners earlier. Who are some of those partners that Polk State has right now?
Well, Palm Harbor Homes is definitely our biggest,
Yeah.
and Bill's been working very closely with them.
Now, Palm Harbor is are one of our sponsors that's very interested in our students. They have a tremendous need, so that would be one of the primary. They've got an additional facility they're interested in opening, and they're looking at trying to get it staffed up. So we're trying to get the student population. We have another manufacturer that approached Mary Beth, and so we're just working trying to work within the construction industry within the county, and any manufacturing facilities that might have needs as well.
And from what I was reading earlier online about you guys, I believe it was a press release or an article somewhere, to my understanding, it sounded as if the students have a pretty good shot at least getting an interview with Palm Harbor Homes. Is that right?
Yep, Palm Harbor Homes has agreed to interview all of our program graduates, and so far they have honored that agreement. And they have come in and talked with our classes, done a little informal meet and greet, so that they can get to know the student and the student can get to know them and what their job opportunities are, what their career paths look like, what the work environment, their philosophy, that sort of thing is. And it's a little less pressure than a formal interview. They can just sort of get to know each other. And that's been really helpful. Not only are they getting to know the potential employer, but they're getting to hear from the employer what that whole job area looks like and what kinds of skills they're going to need and what kinds of career pathways they can have. You know, like Bill's told them before, you may not be interested in being a carpenter. Maybe you want to be a designer. And this is a great way to get your foot in the door. Talk to them about that. Learn what it takes to be a designer. You know, how are you going to, what sorts of skills do you need? What sort of computer skills do you need? You know, where can I go in that particular industry to get there?
And that's so important, because being a recent college graduate myself, I know when you graduate and you're in a field that's not necessarily super specialized in what you got your education in, figuring out which direction you want to take it is one of the first things and the most important things and the hardest things to figure out, and then landing that interview. So knowing that you pretty much have at least an interview coming out has to be really encouraging to the students that are starting that program, for sure.
Yes.
Now, what kind of, you've kind of touched on it already, but what type of jobs can students get with these certifications after this training's done?
Well, that's a really wide array. I'm going to look to Bill.
Give him the hard one, right?
No, well, we're talking like in a factory environment. So if you're working at a modular manufacturer or one of the things is there's so many different jobs. Somebody could come in initially, let's say they're building floors, they're framing floors, they might be framing walls, they might be setting walls, they might be building cabinets in a cabinet shop. But when we're dealing in a factory environment like in a modular plant, the number of jobs are vast. You could be anything from a welder to a trimmer to somebody who does cleanup work to somebody who does electrical, plumbing. It's just unlimited. Just within the confines of a plant, every possible job that is done in the construction industry happens there. And if somebody like Mary Beth was saying is interested in becoming a designer, being a CAD operator, something like that, it's always good to have that knowledge of what happens within the factory. So most factories look at employees that they have built, that have that construction knowledge of how they build, and then they transition them into other jobs. like CAD operators or designers and things like that. If somebody wants to do estimating, if you want to be an estimator, it's good to have that knowledge of what happens within the construction confines of the program. So these are all skill sets that we want to give them. And the main thing is we give them the knowledge they need to get their foot in the door, establish a good work pattern, show the employer that you're eager, you want to learn, and I'm certain that they'll have every opportunity.
And being that this is a little bit of a non-traditional kind of college setting, are you guys able to tell me a little bit about what their kind of process is going to be like? How much classroom time do you have? How much hands-on equipment time do you have? When do you get to put your hands on the equipment? What is that timeline kind of like?
Well,
or does that depend on the student, or?
Well, we initially start in the classroom because we have to instill the safety. So there's a whole aspect of safety that they're going to go through. Then we'll bring them into the lab area and we'll teach them the basic hand tools, and we'll make sure that they can do that. Then we'll transition them into power tools, and we'll transition them into measuring and cutting and various techniques like this. And then we also have the CNC router in there that we can do some programs and cut components. We have the Helix laser that we can cut other components from. We have kit building. There's so many different things as you start from foundation and work through supervisory. There's so much activity going on within the plants, within the lab itself. So there's so much hands-on going on, and that's what's important, because when you get out on a job site, it's good to have the theoretical knowledge that we're going to give you, but to have that hands-on, that skill set, that you can cut a straight line, you can measure a straight line, you can read a tape properly, you can do all those things that are necessary.
Yeah. And I saw the equipment firsthand, and it's amazing what the technology can do and what you guys just have in your college campus. It's a great opportunity, as you said, for those students to really get their hands on it and figure out what they're doing and just experience it firsthand. So.
We're really proud of it.
Yeah, of course, I'm sure. You guys have a great program here. It's amazing that it's free to the public. And I wish you guys the best of luck in keeping it alive, because it sounds like you're doing great so far.
Thank you.
I want to thank you guys for being here. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for today. If you missed this episode, you can catch replays on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 1 and 7 p.m. on PGTV, or find us on YouTube. Thank you for joining us on The Buzz. We'll see you next time.